Welcome to another Tiermaker. I'm your host, Wheeler Dealer, and tonight we are ranking Steven Spielberg films. I don't know why I haven't done this list before. It seems like a no-brainer, because I've seen the vast majority of his films. There are 6 here that I have not seen, and I have put them down there already. 1941, Sugarland Express. What even is this one? Something in Roger of the Skies. I have no idea. Adventures of Tintin, BFG, but Empire of the Sun is the one that I think is probably my blind spot that I really do want to see at some point. And for some reason, I have not made it to that one. However, I've seen a bunch of his other films. These are in alphabetical order on this list, so we're going to do it kind of alphabetical, but I'm going to pick and choose around here and there. And I did move a couple around to put them in order of franchises. Like Raiders of the Lost Ark, clearly S tier. We don't even need to discuss that, right? Is anyone going to argue that Raiders is not S tier? Anyone? Chat? Watching live on Twitch right now? No, you can't argue against it, Raiders. Temple of Doom. When I saw it when I was a kid, I liked it. I knew it was a little weird. It was a dark movie. I don't know how I got a PG because PG-13 kind of didn't exist yet. They were trying to make it a thing then. It's not a great movie. And Kate Capshaw, it's not her best performance. It's very cartoony, which is probably what they were going for. I just don't really care for it. It is watchable, kind of, but it's paced so weird. It's a C. It's a C. It's not a terrible film, but it's definitely... Following Raiders of the Lost Ark was tough. But they did, and they gave it a shot. But here's the other question. Where does Last Crusade go? Because to me it's an A, but it's like a high A. It's also maybe S minus. Now nobody's going to argue that Last Crusade is better than Raiders of the Lost Ark, but for some people it is like their emotional favorite of the 3. I put it as an A. It's a damn good movie, and it has some incredible moments in it. I just think the ending is and the intro was pretty cool the first time, the whole young Indiana Jones thing, but the time skip to him as an adult and getting punched, flawless. It's a damn good movie. For me, I gotta put it a little bit below. But if you rank this as an S and it's like on par with Raiders, I would understand. Let's move it back a bit. Let's go to Duel. Shrink this up a little bit. Oh wow, I'm trying to resize all this here. Duel is his first actual film. It's pretty good. If you watch it, it's very low budget, but it's a guy who's being chased by someone in a semi. It's a simple concept. It's edited and paced really well, and it's a short film, and it's pretty damn good as it is. I'm putting it as a B minus. For a first film, it's kind of neat, and it's definitely worth watching if you're a fan of Spielberg's. AI. Oh God, we gotta talk about AI, don't we? God, AI is such a tough call because I'm such a Kubrick fan, and this was a script that Stanley Kubrick was going to make, and he didn't live long enough to do it. He was waiting for the technology to get good enough to make the film, and he did not live long enough to see it happen. So when Steven Spielberg took it on, just a couple years after Kubrick passed away. Oh God, the concept is good. The ending, the way Kubrick would have done it, would have been really, really good. But then Spielberg slaps on this happy, tacky ending, and it just kills the movie for me. I don't know if I should put this as a D, but I'll be honest. In terms of Spielberg's films, it's a lesser film, for sure. It is lesser. D's not fair, though. I think it should be a low C. Because it's pretty good. It looks the part. Oh, God. That's either a C or a D. I'm not sure. Oh, you know what? I just realized. Always. I have not seen Always. I have to put Always in the haven't seen. Sorry. Not in my blind spot. Not really in a hurry to see it. If it's on cable, I'll probably check it. Amistad. I saw this in a theater. It's a very good film. based on a true story. A couple of really gut-wrenching scenes. A lot of courtroom drama, which I wasn't really expecting. I will say it's a B, mainly because it's pretty good. The historical aspect is good. It's really well made, of course. I mean, a lot of these on here, I'm going to say well made completely. Once was enough for me with that film. In fact, I'm trying to think if Lincoln, I should probably talk about Lincoln after that, because it's another historical film. I mean, you can almost kind of put them 1 and 2. I'm sorry. I don't like Lincoln. I don't like the movie. I don't like it. It's too long. It's boring. Daniel Day-Lewis is really good in it, but the voice he's doing in it is off-putting to me for some reason. And when it was over, I just went, because it's showing such a narrow window. It's not trying to show like a full biopic. It's just showing a narrow window of time in his life. And for what that is, it's fine, but God, that movie's a slog. It's a slog. I'm sorry. And again, taking nothing away from Daniel Day-Lewis, his performance is solid, even though I have to get past his voice, which the thing he's doing with it, I almost want to pull up a clip and show it to you. You can go look it up on YouTube. Trust me, it's a little odd. One of my least favorite Daniel Day-Lewis performances. Oh, Indiana Jones. Oh, we have another Indiana Jones movie. Yeah. That's enough. Okay, Hook. Hook is a good one. Hook is fun. It's a light movie. It's, if I grew up with this movie, it probably would be a B. I'm going to put it as a mid-tier C. In fact, I'm going to put it ahead of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Dustin Hoffman having a lot of fun in that role. Robin Williams, good Peter Pan. It's a fun movie. It's fun. Once is enough, but it's a fun movie. We're talking about Tom Hanks. We've got a few others in here. We definitely need to talk about The Terminal. I like this movie and I don't like this movie, which makes it a C. Because why was Tom Hanks in this movie? Like, because he's okay in it. His accent is okay, I guess. The setup for the movie is good. It's really good. Person is stuck. He's broke. He's stuck in an airport in between flights. Can't clear customs. And he basically lives in an airport for, I don't know how long, a couple months. And this was based on a true story. He would go fetch carts, because when the luggage carts when you put them back in, you get a quarter. He was running around and like taking carts and asking people if I can take your cart and stuff, and he was using that to get money to feed himself. It's based on a true story, and it's as a movie, it's okay. They threw a love interest thing in there with Catherine Zeta-Jones it's not believable really at all, and it's perfectly okay and fine. Given a choice, and here's how I'm going to rank these: is it something I want to watch again? Or for the 5th time, or however many times, I would put Terminal ahead of AI for sure. Stop in and look at chat. Riz is here. Hello. Hook is low B, IMO. I have nostalgia bias, but my opinion is always fact. Well, okay, Pac, if you say so. Yeah, look, most of these you can swing half a point up or down, except Raiders is not moving. Don't even try it. Bridge of Spies. Interesting, kinda, based on a true story, kinda. Once was enough. It's C, but it's in between Terminal and AI. Jaws. Jaws is S tier. I put it slightly behind Raiders, but you cannot deny the ability with that film. That film was such a gamble. The technical problems they had making it, and for it to have turned out as well as it did. It's another one of those where they had to hide the shark a lot because it wasn't the technical, the robotics and stuff weren't working a lot of the time. So there's a lot of it that they're hiding. Turns out, the less you see of it, the better. It's almost like they learned from Hitchcock. Catch Me If You Can. I really like this movie. have watched it probably 3 times. I would watch it a 4th time right now. It's so fun. The energy of that movie, the way you believe Leonardo DiCaprio when he's doing his anytime he's trying to sell somebody on whatever it is he's doing to try to get away with the money, the scam, the counterfeit checks, the if you haven't seen Catch Me If You Can, it's really good. Again, Tom Hanks in it. Look, he's a huge name. He's a huge draw. He's a damn good actor. One of the best actors of our generation, for sure. He's America's dad, right? And there are movies with Tom Hanks that I have seen that I completely love. Movies that I cannot imagine anyone else in. This is one where I think they're a different actor maybe would have been better. And that's just me personally. Leonardo DiCaprio is great in it. And I just love the pacing of it. It's very snappy. Even though it's a little over 2 hours, it moves. And it's such a fun movie. Such a fun movie. That is a low A for me, low to mid A. Close Encounters. It was a movie of its time. Watching it now, it doesn't quite hold up the same way. But it kind of does too. This is a B. I'm going to put it yeah, it's a high B actually, to be fair. Such a cool concept for a movie. It's just a bit of a slog to get to that last act at times. E.T. is S tier, and I don't want to hear a single word from anyone. This isn't just nostalgia. It is one of the best family films of all time. Go ahead and question me. Go ahead and tell me I'm wrong. I'm here for it. I'm listening. But E.T. is a almost flawless film. Still to this day, gut punch at a couple of times. And the fact that they took this puppet, basically, there's a couple scenes when they had to have a little person in a suit when you see it walking. To draw that kind of emotion from people at the time, it was almost unheard of. E.T.'s a masterpiece, and it belongs in the S tier. Jaws is better, IMO, but okay. So, yeah, if we're ranking S tiers, me personally, E.T. is one that I watch more frequently than Jaws. Having said that, I mean, which one of those is more influential? E.T. or Jaws? Jaws is really damn influential. Pretty much invented the summer blockbuster. But E.T. spawned just as many imitators and clones. So, I don't know. I mean, it's personal opinion. But if you were to argue that Jaws it should be higher than E.T., I'm listening. Jurassic Park, it's S tier. In fact, Jurassic Park should probably be up here ahead of E.T. How is that movie still so good? How is the CGI still amazing? Doesn't feel dated. So many movies from that era, the whatever computer imagery they did doesn't age well. That film aged perfectly. To this day, is it better than E.T.? If it's a funner film, more fun of a film than E.T. or Jaws to me. And I'm putting it ahead of those two. That's tough though. They're both fantastic films. They're all 4 of those are incredible. Lost World. Damn, this movie sucks. I'm sorry. It's really bad. I'm gonna put it ahead of Lincoln, but just barely. It's bad. I saw it opening weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend. God, it's so bad. It's so bad. Jurassic Park 3, he didn't direct, but was better than this. And then you've got the Jurassic World films, which are so throwaway and forgettable. They really are. I'm sorry. You agree with Jurassic Park placement. You put it ahead of E.T. and Jaws. Love it. Love it. Minority Report. I'm so torn on this movie because it is 2/3 of a masterpiece. Maybe even 3/4 of a masterpiece. Then it completely goes off the rails. Spoiler alert, when he gets captured. And almost like the film AI, you can argue that the last reel is a dream or a daydream that they're having, that it didn't actually happen, that he's still in that cryo jail the whole time. And that's just because they say at one point in the film that you and this is all spoilers from Minority Report. They explain how you dream when you're in this cryo jail. So it could be that the ending doesn't happen. Having said that, I think it does happen. I think Spielberg could not let it not have a happy ending. I think he needed to force a happy ending in there, and it breaks the movie a little bit. But I'll tell you, it's pretty rare when a day goes by when I don't at least think of the advertising in that movie, the way it reads into your eyeballs, and I'm like, we're on our way to that. When I can't watch a YouTube video for more than 10 seconds and not have 2 ads pop up. We are getting to that point with augmented reality. They're gonna shove more ads into our eyeballs, just like that movie. And the setup for that film is so freaking amazing. So where do I rank it? It's an A, but I'm putting it as a low A. Because the ending, oh, I don't like the ending. It's so bad. But 3/4 of a masterpiece. Pock in chat. I watched JW Dominion in Jurassic World Dominion in theaters with a friend and actually fell asleep for a minute or two. I mean, I watched the first Jurassic World and I went, eh. And like an hour later, I totally forgot that I even watched it. Then I watched the second one and it was more dull and trying to be cool, but not. And then they put the third one out and they went for the nostalgia play. They brought back a lot of the cast from the original film. And I went, no thanks. I know what you're trying to do here. I see it. And then I read the reviews and it looks like I was right. That reviewed worse than the other two. So, again, look, if you're into those films and you like them, that's cool. Comparing them to the original, forget it. Munich. I need to watch this again. Now that I've been to Munich, I want to see, because they filmed it all there. And in the same places where the hostage situation happened. It is based on a true story. It is kind of slow. It's almost a little too historical. I'm putting Munich as a C, but it's kind of a high C because it is a pretty good view. I'll put it behind Hook. I think Hook's is a little bit more of a fun watch, but Munich is a really well-made historical drama, and it's definitely mid for him, but mid for him is still better than a lot of other directors. I've been to Munich. Yeah, I went last year. We spent a few days there, and it's a really cool town. Really cool town. And they kept talking about the movie, and I'm like, I have not seen Munich since it came out on home video when I was buying for Blockbuster, and I got a screener copy from Universal, and I watched it, and I was like, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's pretty good. Got some Oscar buzz. Didn't win anything. Poltergeist. This is a movie that messed me up as a kid because it came out, and I was like in the 2nd grade, 3rd grade, somewhere in there. Not as scary now as an adult, although the scene with the pool and the bodies, yeah, still pretty messed up. I like this movie. I think it's a B. I think it's actually a high B. Is it behind Close Encounters or in front of it? They're kind of similar movies in a way. I think Poltergeist is a better paced. I think it's more watchable than Close Encounters throughout, from start to finish. And Craig T. Nelson's a great dad. He was a great dad in that movie. Ready Player One. So I read the book and I enjoyed it, but then a couple weeks later I started thinking more about the book and I went, that was some really gross nostalgia. It was nostalgia porn. And then watching the movie, it was even worse. Like having it shown to you as opposed to reading it made it feel even more nostalgia porn. And if anybody was going to make that film, it was going to be Steven Spielberg because of his clout to be able to pull all those licenses together to be in a movie. But it kind of made me want to watch Iron Giant again, and Ghostbusters, and Back to the Future, and all the other stuff that's referenced in it. It's not a very good movie. I put it slightly behind Lost World, but kind of think maybe it goes ahead of Lost World. I'm not sure. Okay, but that one part in the book where he talked about VR sex was wild. Okay, yeah, legit. And there's a good twist in the book that is also in the movie that I enjoyed. So, all right. The Post. This is D tier. I'm putting it slightly above Lincoln, and here's why. They rushed the script. They rushed the production. It is based on a true story, kind of. It's It feels very loosely based on a true story. It is, and as someone who worked at a student paper and who has a journalism degree, I wanted to love this movie. And look, when you cast 2 people for comic relief and it's Bob Odenkirk and David Cross working together, what the hell are you doing? I just want to watch Mr. Show now. What are you doing? Great cast. It's just, it felt like they rushed it. And I don't know how much better to put it than that. It felt so rushed. And if you watch that film and you enjoy it, great. I'm not telling you you're wrong. I just personally made zero personal connection to it when I was watching it. And usually behind the scenes newspaper movies, I am like sucked in because that The Paper is a movie that came out in the early mid 90s. Seeing how they work behind the scenes, having worked at a newspaper briefly, student newspaper, but then we would go to the actual newspaper in the city and print up our physical copies, and you kind of spend some time in the newsroom and you see how people work. I love these types of movies. Broadcast news, also TV journalism. I love those types of movies. Love them. Network, masterpiece. The Post is just, it's not a good movie. I'm sorry. Pac is still on Ready Player One. I really like the idea. It's just a missed opportunity. Oh, yeah. Missed opportunity. And now that it's been done, no one's ever going to try to do it better. War of the Worlds. We're going to work our way backwards because the last few are very big conversations. War of the Worlds, it's a C. It's not bad. It's pretty well made. Yeah, that's where I'm putting it. I would rather watch The Terminal right now than War of the Worlds. If you said, which of these films do you want to watch? I would watch The Terminal before War of the Worlds. Love the CGI. The last third of the movie is just kind of pointless. And we'll leave it at that. Warhorse, not a bad movie. Actually pretty good. Somewhat based on a true story. Yeah, we'll put it in the middle, in between Close Encounters and Duel. It's better than I expected. But it's not great. It's good. It's a solid B. For Your Height Only is 10 times better than any of these. If you don't know a movie called For Your Height Only, we watched it in my on stream a couple years ago as part of a channel goal. Look it up, For Your Height Only. Filipino film from 1980. It's a spy who's only 3 feet tall. It is a masterpiece. If I could do a tier maker of Wang Wang films, it would be S tier. Twilight Zone the movie. So this is cursed. Some people died in the production of this because a helicopter. There was an incident and people died. So I want to start that off by saying, for the record, and that was not Spielberg's, because there's like 4 different stories in it that are Twilight Zone-y, and the one that John Landis did was not, it did not appear in the film. So nothing that you see in the movie is that. Am I correct on that? Let me look that up. I think his part was completely taken out. Twilight Zone accident. Oh, it is in the movie. Okay, so that scene is in the movie, but that portion that he directed is in the movie, but he did not put that part with the helicopter in it. And yes, 3 people died on the ground with the helicopter. As a movie, it's, I mean, that cloud hung over that movie, and I don't want to watch it again. I don't. It's so weird. There's a couple of sections in it that are okay. I have no desire to watch it again. I would watch Lincoln again before I would watch Twilight Zone the movie, and that's too bad. It's really too bad. The Goonies. Goonies is high A. I think Goonies is there with Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade. And if you ask me to watch either of those again, I'm probably going to go Last Crusade, but Goonies is really close. I've seen The Goonies more than I've seen Last Crusade. I've probably seen it, I don't know, 10 times at least. For all the times it's been on cable and I'm just like, Goonies is on, and just sit there and watch it. It's iconic. I'm going to just put it slightly behind Last Crusade, but it's so close. Yeah, it's also impossible to improve upon The Twilight Zone. That's a really good point, Pac, because you're talking about a TV show that was just masterful, and trying to make a movie version of it in and of itself is kind of weird. And it's kind of like Creepshow, the movie, which was a way better movie than Twilight Zone was. Okay, there's 3 left. Color Purple. I only saw this movie a couple years ago. It's very good. The performances in it are fantastic. It's not something I really want to watch again. I'm putting it near Amistad, but I'm putting it ahead of it a little bit. In fact, I'm putting it ahead of Warhorse. I think it's one that everyone should see. It's a little bit dated in the way it's filmed and edited, and not like it feels like an old school movie. Just there's something about it that feels 80s, like a film made in the 80s that was a period film. But that does not take away from how powerful it is, and it does deserve to have a spot in the B's. And I would also say Danny Glover. Wow, what a rough role to have to play. It's to be the bad guy in that movie. Yeah, it's one everyone should see at least once. 2 left, and look, I'm just going to spoil this for you right now. Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan are both S tier. The thing is, where on this list are they? I'm going to do something, and this is where it might get a little dicey for some people, but I'm putting Saving Private Ryan as his best film. I know some people are going to disagree with me on that. They're going to think the very ending maybe is a little schmaltzy or whatever. It is his best made film. I don't know that it's his best film, because Schindler's List is his best film. But even he can't resist making another play for the emotion at the end. Having said that, the ending of Schindler's List with the survivors and putting the rocks on the gravestone, that is a better ending than Saving Private Ryan's. But what Saving Private Ryan did was completely reinvent the war movie, which no one expected. Hey, Spielberg's making a World War II movie. That'll be interesting. No one had a single freaking clue what was going to happen in that movie. And the fact that there were World War II veterans that were walking out of the movie because the Omaha Beach assault was too realistic. How many video games, how many other movies, how many TV shows have stolen that whole cloth? That first 20 minutes. You can't count that high. Here's the problem, though. Where is Schindler's List versus Saving Private Ryan? This is the tough part. This is the tough part. For me, hey, Wheeler Dealer, we're going to watch a Spielberg movie. Which one is it? I'm going Private Ryan. And then I'm going Raiders. And then I'm going Jurassic Park. And then I'm going Schindler's List. Because the enjoyment factor of Jurassic Park and Raiders of the Lost Ark is too high to ignore. Schindler's List is one of the more important films anyone will ever see. And yet, is it something that you want to watch? For many reasons, yes, but it's not a casual watch. It's not a casual watch at all. Bastard Skelly has resubbed at 28 months. Thank you. Happy Mother's Day. We just are now finishing up a tier maker for Steven Spielberg films, and there it is. That's the ranking. For me personally, Private Ryan is my favorite Steven Spielberg film. I will say Schindler's List is his best. But for me, my favorite on this list is Saving Private Ryan. And this is the order. This is the order. I've got 7 of his films I have not seen. Empire of the Sun is the one I really need to see first. I kind of need to see 1941 just out of curiosity. The only F tier film on here is Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And you can argue that that shouldn't be an F. Don't. The 5th film's coming. We've seen the trailers. Will it be better? And that's the question I want you to put in chat. Will the 5th Indiana Jones movie be better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? If you're watching this on YouTube, put it in the chat. Do you think it'll be better? I don't know. I don't know. They're going to have to do a lot of green screen CGI. Harrison Ford's kind of old. So there's your S tiers. And by the way, I'll have to go back and look at my tier makers to see if I have another director that I've done one of these for that has 6 S tier films. I think that's a record for me. I don't even know that Stanley Kubrick that I have 6 S tier films for Stanley Kubrick. Oh, and by the way, Fabelmans is not on here, so this list is a little old. And I would put Fabelmans probably down here in the B's. Warhorse level, probably. It's pretty good. The last scene is flawless, but it's a little long. It's a personal movie, almost autobiographical. I liked it. It's not perfect, but it's good. I would probably put it over there near Warhorse and Duel. Skelly, I've seen Always. You have. I have not. Nothing could be worse than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but who knows? All right, Pac, you think there's a chance it could be better. Spielberg is one of the best. Riz, you're absolutely right. There's probably not a more consistent director that has worked in our lifetimes. Maybe at least the most consistent American director. And the level of inspiration that he has given to multiple generations with Private Ryan, with Raiders, with Jurassic Park, with Schindler's List, with E.T. and Jaws, those 6 films. You could even throw in Last Crusade. You could say Goonies in terms of family films. Minority Report is very influential in the way that Janusz Kaminski directed that film, and the lens flare in that film was something that a lot of filmmakers ripped off for like the next 10 years. They couldn't do it quite like Janusz, but they tried. Even the B tier. And you know, some of these B tier here, maybe they're a C for some other folks. And maybe some of these C's or D's. It's fine. And some would probably argue Lincoln in the Post should be higher up. It's just personal preference. But I hope that if there are some of these movies on this list that are S tier that you haven't seen, I hope you make the time to see them immediately. If you haven't seen Private Ryan, go see it. Go rent it. There's a 4K Blu-ray. It looks as good as when I saw it in the theater, if not better. Mind-blowing. Incredible film. It's long, 2 hours and 40 plus. Worth every minute. And there are 2 scenes in the film that make me cry every single time I see it. So it needs props for all of that. So that's why it's my number 1. But tell me, is the new Indiana Jones going to be any good? Put it in the chat. Put it on the YouTube comments. Otherwise, thanks for watching. This is the Steven Spielberg Tiermaker. I am having trouble talking, so I hope y'all enjoyed it, and we'll catch you on the next one.